morning. Welcome. How are you? Okay. It is great that despite the not so good weather, you are here. Okay. And it is also great that we have great speakers this morning from different parts of the world to share their experience, insight, and more importantly, the visions. Okay. Just to briefly introduce them first. First of all, we have Dr. Ruoyi Zhou, okay, who is the director, the accessibility research, IBM, from USA. And then we have Janice Chia, founder and managing director, Ageing Asia, from Singapore. And then we have Itoh, who is the CEO, the Abilities Care-net, Incorporated Japan. Welcome. And finally, we have Professor Yeh-liang, Director, Gerontechnology Research Center, University, Taiwan. So it's great. Okay. And I presume you have no questions at this moment. Okay. And we can make a start. First of all, I will give an introduction of our first speaker. Okay, Dr. Zhou.
It's my great pleasure to be here with everybody and to, addressing one of the most challenging demographic shift that we experience in aging. And so here I like to share with you about our point of view in aging and also some of the research work in terms of developing technology for aging. So let's begin with aging is happening, right? That's what brought all of us here today. And so let me show you some of the pictures here. So I would say we are at a tipping point where the population of age 65 for the first time in human history is exceeding children who are 5 years or younger. This is happening everywhere. Of course, some area is probably more advanced than other areas. So let's take a look at, for example, in different parts of the world. Japan is leading the way, together with countries like Italy, Germany, Finland, and Hong Kong is actually in par with all these countries advancing very fast in terms of aging. So it is a very challenging demographic shift. The good news is technology is also happening, and it is happening at an unprecedented pace. And so let's take a look at some of the examples. We already have shifted from analog to digital, from landlines to mobile devices, right? Autonomous vehicle is around everywhere, right? And so as IBM Accessibility Research, I'm very proud to share with you some really cool stuff we're doing with, I would say, the cutest little autonomous bus called Ollie. So at the January CES, we essentially announced, together with Local Motors, who is the producer for Ollie, that we're going to make Ollie the most accessible vehicle in the world. And also robots. You see a lot of robots in the display on the floor, right? And so it's everywhere. So from IBM perspective, how can we apply the advanced technology in the field of aging? So I'd like to share with you what we are doing here. And so aging as a research topic, we started at the end of 2015. We declared aging as a strategic initiative for our research. And since then, we have done a lot of first-hand gathering information and define the direction for aging. So let me share with you some of the field study we've been doing. Sorry. So we conducted workshops, interviews, work with clients around the world, especially in the areas where aging is most advanced, such as Finland, Germany, US, Switzerland, Italy, right, and also Taiwan. I would say I need to update this slide to add Hong Kong, and next week I'll be in Beijing. And so we get a lot of information to understand the landscape for aging. We also conducted 2 in-depth studies. The first one is together with CTA, the Consumer Technology Association. So in 2016 CES, our CEO, together with the CEO of CTA, we announced we're going to work together in aging. And so we conducted a quite extensive study to understand what's on people's mind when it comes to aging, right? And so I want to share with you 3 findings. And one is, for the seniors, a lot of people are concerned about lose memory and lose the independence for living. It is a scary thing when you get old if you don't have any memory. And another thing is also, from their children's perspective, it is very difficult to have this discussion with their parents, say, hey, it's time to move to a senior center. That proven to be very difficult. The third one, I would say, is also very encouraging one. Most people believe technology can help aging. So these are the 3 findings, and if you want to know more details, please go to our website, IBM Accessibility, you'll find it. The second study we conducted happened this year, is along the lines of loneliness, because this is a hidden risk, because many people don't realize how serious the loneliness is, how they impact our seniors. And I think throughout the presentations yesterday, this topic also came up, loneliness, and how can we help them to address. So there's 3 takeaways from the study we conducted in 6 countries, and also we interviewed more than 50 experts in this area. So 3 takeaways including, how can we build a new kind of village using technology to connect the people? And how can we do more study to identify more insights about what's behind loneliness, what are the root causes, and what are the solutions we can bring to the seniors? And number 3 is, how can we help the senior to rebuild their social capital? Okay, so with these studies, then we identified 3 top challenges the seniors are facing. And by the way, the data I show here are, obviously I'm from the US, so the US data. And so we also want to take a look at, for example, data specific for Hong Kong and other parts of the world. The number 1 challenge, I would say, the cost of care. In the US, you can take a look at some numbers, right? The home care costs about $20 per hour on average. Of course, you have California, it's far more expensive than, say, Nevada, right? And then you typically, people use maybe a few hours here and a few hours there, and on a monthly basis, maybe a few $100 a month. But then when you need to move a senior to assisted living, the cost goes up to over $3,000. When a senior requires 24-hour skilled nursing care, the cost is going to be more than $6,000 a month, way exceeded some of the seniors' income. So it's simply unaffordable. The second area, which it also has both health and also economic impact, is falling. Falling is one of the deadliest accidents that happen to seniors every single year. So on an annual basis, if you take a look at it, for people who are 65 and older, 1 out of 3 suffer from falling. The cost, we're not even talking about the family members take off from work and then provide a care, the burden, just associated medical cost, $30 billion a year. There are similar numbers for Europe as well. The third area, as I mentioned, loneliness, right? And according to AARP, the American Association of Retired People, more than half of the people who are 75 years or older live alone. So loneliness is at an epidemic level, can be compared to obesity. As you know, obesity is one of the epidemics in the US. Loneliness is not far behind obesity. And some people also, according to the Harvard Health Review, the impact of loneliness to health is like you smoke 15 cigarettes a day. So can you imagine the kind of impact? So how can we combat loneliness among the seniors? So this is essentially, these are the bases for our research focus. So we decided we're going to focus in these 3 areas to address the challenges we just described. One is, how can we use the cognitive IoT? And so for those who may not be familiar with the term cognitive, in IBM, we are the industry leader when it comes to artificial intelligence or machine learning. That some people use different terms. We call it cognitive. IoT stands for Internet of Things. So in other words, how can you use sensor data around us to collect information, right, and analyze information? It's called Internet of Things. The second area is social interaction. As I mentioned, loneliness is one of the a very epidemic problem, and so how can we solve the social interaction? And in terms of fall, we also, are doing extensive studies in terms of fall and also the cognitive wellness. These two things sometimes are related. So let me start with the project. Our first project in the IoT is with the city of Bolzano in Italy. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, aging very fast. So when we conducted this experiment with them, they already had 65, aging rate, right? The people 65 and older, already 23% of population. They also have a replacement index of 145, which means every 100 new people entering the workforce, you have 145 people leaving the workforce. So you can imagine the severity of labor shortage. So the government thinking about how can we, care of our aging population, right, using technology. And so essentially we designed an experiment to achieve two purposes. One is help the seniors live alone to feel safer and supported. The second one is help the government come up with a solution that's sustainable to managing the aging population. So essentially what we did is, place sensors in people's homes, such as motion sensors, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, water, and temperature. And then it gives people who have either a mobile phone or people have a home PC, a dashboard to see how they're doing. Right? For example, if a senior is alone, there is a certain level of carbon dioxide, or CO2. And when the person has visitors, you see a surge of CO2, you can probably guess, okay, maybe somebody's visiting Zita, this lovely lady, her name is Zita. And she has a very regular life. You can see there is 3 spikes of carbon monoxide. They use gas stoves, so every time we see a surge in carbon monoxide, oh, Zeta is cooking, right? And so this experiment we did for 6 months. The feedback from the seniors overwhelmingly positive. They say they're very enthusiastic. They say, I felt safer. And some say very stimulating because they're lonely and running experiment with us. It's just such a lovely thing to do, right? And also in terms of, we survey, are you happy? They say, totally fulfilled my expectation. However, from the researcher perspective, we're looking at, okay, what did we learn in terms of what are deficiencies? What are the challenges? Is this solution sufficient? No, far from sufficient. So let me share with you from the technology perspective our findings. As you know, we did 30 homes in Italy, right? And these homes all vary. Some have broadband, have home PC, and some have nothing. And so in terms of, technology perspective, how can we roll out a turnkey minimum viable product kit? It's very difficult because every home's IT, there's no standards. And also varies from very advanced to nothing. That's one challenge we're dealing with. The second challenge we're dealing with, essentially, the experiment we did with Bolzano is the flood of false warning. Because if you make decision based upon a single data from single sensor without integrating them, it's very difficult to judge whether or not carbon monoxide, is Zeta really cooking or not? So we need some more advanced technology to draw a better conclusion. And number 3 is the requirement for personalization, because every senior is different. You cannot say, I have a solution for all of them, right? We need to personalize, tailor for each individual. So based upon these findings, in the last 2 years or so, we've been developing more advanced solution. We want to make sure we leverage IBM's core technology, cognitive or machine learning, right? And also the information got to be contextual. And so what you see here is essentially, we did another experiment and with a 87-year-old lady who suffers short-term memory loss. And so we instrumented her room with 48 sensors. By the way, it's overkill, right? We run an experiment the ultimate goal is as few sensors as possible to achieve the economic, make it very affordable. But for running experiment, we want as many sensors as possible to collect all the information. In the middle is our core technology. It is a data fusion engine that can integrate different sensor data and can also correlate with medical data together. So let me explain to you what does that mean. It's a data fusion engine. For example, we have sensors on the refrigerator, we have sensors in bed, we have sensors in faucet, we have sensors in cooking stove. If I detect, okay, the refrigerator is being opened and closed, I'm not sure if mom is cooking or she's simply putting groceries in the refrigerator. However, if I detect in a timely sequence, right, okay, the refrigerator has been opened and closed, the kitchen faucet is turned on and then turned off, and then the cooking stove is on. So I can, with more than 90% confidence, I can say, oh, mom is cooking. That's called a contextual. So technology is how can you integrate data from different sensors and to draw a conclusion. Not only draw a conclusion, can also reason, say, what kind of action you need to take. For example, if mom left the stove on for 30 minutes without detecting she's in the kitchen, it's alarming. You don't leave stove on for 30 minutes without doing anything. Then the system will trigger alert, say, alert, there was a danger here. Either remind mom, hey, did you forget stove is on, or call the neighbor. So this is give you an example about what kind of cognitive contextual system we are building. On the far left or right, this side, right, you can see also we are developing graph technology and to visualize data because they're talking about 3 months of data generated 500 million of graph elements. This is probably too technical here. So it's a large amount of data we need to deal with. And so visualizing data is also extremely important. And so that's also the things we are doing. So you can see, otherwise it's large amount of data. How can I consume that? So now let me share with you what we are doing using this contextual and cognitive data fusion engine. So started in January, we are doing another experiment. It's called JDA, the Joint Development Experiment, and with a senior care facility called Avamere. So Avamere is on the west coast of the United States, and they run 47 senior facilities. One of their top challenges is how can they keep their patients from readmission to the hospital? Because in US, when the seniors turn 65 or older, the government provides medical insurance called Medicare and Medicaid. And so, when they go to hospital, everything's covered by the government. And when they're released or discharged from hospital, they go to places like Avamere. However, if Avamere, don't provide quality care, quote unquote, and then which result in the patient goes back to hospital within 30 days, they suffer a fairly severe fine. So from Avamere's perspective, how can they keep, provide a quality care to make sure the seniors don't end up going back to the hospital within 30 days? So what we do is we essentially deploy these sensors in about 29 24-hour skilled nursing facilities. And to use the data, then you monitor the seniors and use the data to build the activities of daily living. And then we can correlate to the activity of daily living model to the medical record and to see what kind of models corresponding to lower hospital readmission and what kind of models correlate to higher hospital readmission. Therefore, we can optimize care and reduce the hospital readmission. So that's the one of the experiment we're doing, and so far I would say the results is very encouraging. Another experiment we're doing, same technology, different business objectives. Sole is a senior facility in Italy. And for them, there's no such a thing as government fine or penalty, right? And so for them is two important things. And one is toileting, because toileting quite often, results in people, if rushed to the bathroom, they fall, and sometimes they have incontinence. So these are the things and cause the quality of the seniors, also additional work for the caregiver. And so how can we model, there, for example, toileting pattern, and so the caregivers can provide, bathroom assistance before accidents happen, can reduce essentially the cost and also improve the quality. The second one is wandering, because some of the seniors suffer from dementia. They sometimes wander off the campus. You don't know where they are anymore. And so by tracking them, so we'll help the caregivers to make sure that they don't have random accidents like this. And so also, share with you shortly about, and we talked about loneliness, right? Because our colleagues in Japan essentially did. Okay. This music is not, for this presentation, by the way. But anyway, and so, so throughout this project, essentially, we try to address the loneliness. And so our colleagues in Japan, Tokyo Research Lab developed called conversation as sensors, because we talked about all these physical sensors. Conversations can also be sensors, not only just companion, but also good sensors. Give you an example. By designing a conversation called chat box, right? By designing a simple question, what did you eat last night for dinner? This question essentially, when it's tested, whether or not the senior still remembers what they had last night, right? To see if they remember all the time, all of a sudden, the last week or so, the senior cannot answer the question. It is an early sign for dementia. And also you can detect whether or not the seniors got enough nutrition. And so Itoh-san is our expert, and he's actually in IBM booth B404. If you want to know more details, go talk to Itoh-san. Another one, and we essentially said, is the fall risk, right? And so in IBM research, we essentially do this very advanced research called gait analysis. Now we have a system can analyze a person's gait and be able to assign a risk score in terms of fall risk. And so when the senior reaches certain risk threshold, we say, okay, need some kind of intervention or prevention so they don't fall. When you push the button, it's too late, because the current solutions give you a button you push when you fall, right? And so the gait analysis right now, we can do actually real-time analysis. And we, by the way, we have a real-time demo on the floor, and go check it out. All right, so these are the three areas of research that we are doing. And so I would say, last slide, I would like to share with you some of the most advanced technology we're developing. These are the core technology about IBM research. So in IBM research, we have about 3,000 employees and across 12 labs in the world. And so we always say the sun never sets in IBM research, because any part of the world, you always have some researchers working on most advanced technology. That's the good news. And so I'd like to stretch your imagination, some of the newest thing we're doing. Blockchain, for example, and maybe you're thinking, oh, that's for banking. It can be used for any kind of a secure transaction. So in January, we announced a joint research with US Food and Drug Administration. How can we use a blockchain to essentially for the health record data exchange? So can we use this to protect the seniors' privacy when we're talking about collecting so much data? The answer is absolutely yes. And also the cognitive computing has been around for several years, right? It deals large amount of symbolic data, text and numbers. We're also talking about the neuromorphic computing, which is a new one, the newest one we're working on, that deals with sensory data. Sound, image, taste, feelings. It mimics the function of the right brain. And also quantum computing. So if you think, cognitive computing and also synapse or neurographic computing are dealing with large amount of data, quantum computing deals with the complexity of data. For example, if a person takes medication, multiple medications, how can you predict how these molecules of the medication will interact with each other, and what kind of side effect it's going to cause? So I'm going to wrap up here. The reason I show this slide is we can imagine, take our imagination to think about what are the possibilities with the latest technology we have. So together, let's all think aging together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Zhou. Very inspiring presentation. Actually, tell you the truth, I can't remember what I did yesterday, except what I ate for dinner last night. I should turn to you for help, actually. So our next speaker is Janice Chia. Janice is the leader of a social enterprise, which is dedicated to facilitate collaboration between various stakeholders, the business, government, and community areas. relevant to aging. And he will share on the topic and showing how the various stakeholders that I mentioned, that they can connect and subsequently make use of the innovation and technology for improving the livelihood of elderly person. So pass the floor to Janice.
Hello, good morning. I'll start my presentation by sharing with you a video first on what Singapore produced in the station, looking at what do millennials think about what old is. So this video is actually inspired by the AARP US video. So we'll play the video now.
Like that. What age would you consider a person to be old?
Maybe 50, 60.
Above 62.
Like 70?
Maybe 50 and above.
55 and above.
And can you show me how an old person would cross the street?
Crouching and looking around, trying to look at the cars.
It's like a walking stick and like... And how might an old person send a text message?
Send a text. All right, okay. Why is this button? Why I cannot see it? So small.
How about jumping jacks? Jumping jacks?
No, I don't think they can.
Can they? I think.
Maybe they can just shuffle a bit and shuffle a bit.
That. Hang on. There's someone I would like you to meet.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Vincent.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to meet you. Yeah, my age is 59.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm Glory, and I'm in my early 70s.
Chia, I'm
Hi,
66.
Mr. Chia. You're 66? Oh, you
Yes.
look much younger.
Really?
Watching, and I'm 72 years old. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Hello, I'm Ajit Singh.
Nice to meet you.
I'm 89 years old.
Wow.
Young.
Chia, I would like you and Tahira to teach each other something that you can do, so maybe spend a couple minutes.
Maybe we do planking.
Oh, no. Right.
That's my dad.
Okay.
Let's see how long we can last.
You just go down. Yes. Lift up your
Oh my
heel
God.
and stand up.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't do that.
Fully.
Yay! You're the man.
Okay, I'm the man.
You're the man.
Okay.
Okay, I move backward, you move forward.
Okay.
1, 2, cha cha cha. Cha cha cha. Then you turn round, I turn round.
Okay. And
Imagine you're rowing, okay? Row, 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 row. So as you're doing this, you're actually working the abdominal muscles.
Okay, let me try.
Yeah, sure.
Wow, I can't
there,
do that
there
far.
you go. Yeah. So it's but with practice, you get it, practice.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to share with each other about something you've learned today about age?
Last month we went for dragon boat.
Wow. That totally changes my perspective of 70-year-olds.
You have to take an interest in something. It could be a sport. Whichever the sport is, you've got to put your heart and soul into it.
Our body is ageless. It's just a
89,
figure.
yeah.
It's a figure.
It's a figure, yeah.
You know, I can prove it. Look at me. You know, I have all these muscles are tough. You touch it, solid. Solid, boy.
Thank you. So you can find this video online on the Ageing Asia Facebook page. If you want the link, it's from Channel News Asia in Singapore, so you can go online. Today, what I'm going to share with you is basically that aging is about engaging a mindset shift. And who do we want to change the mindsets of? We hope to change the minds of governments, the business community, and the media. Because a lot of people read the news, and if all we read in the news is the challenges of the aging population, can you imagine if the business sector would be interested in investing in the aging population if they think that it's going to be a lot of challenges. We want to give the business sector ideas and innovations that aging is both a social and an economic opportunity. Aging Asia has been around for 8 years. A large part of my work is actually traveling around the world to look at elder care facilities, to look at all the best practices. And in doing so, we've gathered a community of 15,000 in 68 countries. And today, I'll especially like to thank Grace Chan and the team of Hong Kong Council of Social Services for having us here today and the Aging Asia Alliance community, and to represent in sharing some of the innovations from Singapore and around the world. We also look towards engaging the media. We regularly share with them different innovations around the world that we see, so that the media will report more about the positive stories on aging and what many of the wonderful elder care operators are doing in their programs and facilities. We have an advisory board behind us that helps to share their advice on what are the best aging models around the world, especially in operating and programs. We also have representatives from Hong Kong on the advisory board. Aging Asia does 3 things. Many people ask, what exactly does Aging Asia do? So in learning all the models, there's no point in learning if we can't share. So what we do is when we learn the models, we identify them, we bring the speakers to various countries, and we share these models with the market, because our vision is to change what people think about aging. We present a new approach towards filial piety. 中国人讲究的是孝心 Asian values. We always want to look after our elders. But in looking after them, in wanting to do things for them, you know, when they get older, we say, okay, we'll hire a helper to do things for you. As they get older, then they said, okay, how about you don't go to the market? We hire someone to help you go do the marketing. We hire someone to cook for you. And when we take away all these things, we are taking away life and purpose and things that they enjoy. So what Aging Asia looks at is, how can we present this new version of filial piety to look after our elders and yet make them happy? So we look at xiao, which is laughter, the same pronunciations of filial piety. How can we make them happier as they age? 让他们老了之后感到心灵开心，那个是最重要的。My company is inspired by my grandma. Grandma was around in the, you know, when I first started my business. Unfortunately, she passed away this year. But because of her, I had this vision that I wanted to change the future of aging. I wanted to make aging different, because my grandmother's generation and my parents' generation and my generation in future will think differently about how we want to age. We want to look at health, we'll want to look at independence, we'll want to look at dignity. I'll give the example of grandma. 3 years ago, I asked her, do you want to go to the gym? She said no. And then I said, okay, my friend is opening a new clubhouse. Why don't you come along with me? So I created a story, I created a reason for her to come along with me to try something. And because she knew that she was there for me, and she was helping me, I said, okay, Grandma, since you are here, can you help me be my model? Because I really need a model of an older person exercising on the gym equipment. So for the sake of work, she said, okay, Jan, I'll try it out. So at the age of 80 years old, she tried out her first strength training gym equipment. And from then on, she said, oh, you know, actually it's not that hard. But what I realized is that for an older person, whenever you ask them to try something new, their default reaction is no. But if you can convince them and coax them to try it and support them, then you are actually enable them to have a better quality of life in future and to influence them. So children and younger people and the peers have a lot of responsibility towards influencing our elders into trying new things. But we have to, I guess, also take that step to try it with them. While we have many technologies today that will support an aging population, I think one of the challenges will be getting our elders to use the technologies. Baby boomers will have no problems using it, but I think the current generation of elders who are above 70 plus, 80 plus, they might need a little more help in using these technologies. We also do a report every 2 years, but our next one will come out in 2020. In the last report we had, we project the spending power of baby boomers in Asia to hit US 3.3 trillion. So by 2020, this lucrative market is going to help businesses who are looking to access the silver market identify new opportunities. In Hong Kong, this market is projected at US 38 billion. And if you compare it with Singapore market is about US $46 billion. And what does this projection say? It says that older people will not just spend on care. I mean, imagine how you and I live. We choose a lot of services, from lifestyle services, tourism, the way we live, the houses we choose. So the same for an older person. They don't just look at medical. While in the past we may have looked heavily on the medical side, the opportunities for business to work with governments and not-for-profits is also looking at all the other services that help an older person to live well. Aging impacts all sectors of our economy. So if you look at it, all ministries should be looking at aging, because aging is going to overlap every ministry, from transport to health to housing. And if you look at the industry and the different market players, it's not just about healthcare, housing, but it's also about tourism, food and beverage, banking, insurance, retail, shopping centers. How are they changing the ways to make it more age-friendly? There's a lot of factors that come into it. Secondly, I would like also to think about consumer care partnerships. In the past, we think about private-public partnerships. How can private developers work with the not-for-profits? But in future, maybe we should look at how big consumer brands like Starbucks can work with elder care providers. Because if you look at the picture on the left, they see Starbucks. If you look at the picture on the right, that's the picture of an elder care daycare center in Singapore, which looks like a cafe. And then if you look at the next one, we look at the picture of urban farming, using the rooftop gardens. And we all know that if you can save the cost of transportation, you can actually have a better business model as well. So how about looking at the rooftops of all elder care facilities around the world? This is space that can be collaborated with different businesses to provide not just sustainable farming, but also being able to bring the vegetables closer to the community and faster. The next I'll look at is all the residential aged care facilities that we've built. They will cater to perhaps 2 to 3% of the surrounding aging population. But how about the other 97% of older people that will be living around your nursing home, around your care centers? How can we transform our nursing homes more into hubs in the community? So without building more, how can we still support the rest of the community? I think every elder care facility, they should look at home care, day services, rehab, residential, respite care, 24-hour monitoring. And if all that can be done from that blue dot, which is the nursing home and the care hub, people around can age well in place. In addition, I think healthcare workers spend a lot of time transporting to their respective organizations. How about enabling healthcare workers to work at the care hubs that are closest to them? Creating job opportunities for older people who live near each care hub to work together at the care hub, whether it's volunteerism or paid employment. And then also creating a second family. We all want social connections. But when I ask many of the older people around me or my aunties, do you want to make new friends? They all go, no, I don't need friends. But we all know that we do enjoy that social connection. So if they get to know people in the care hub, it becomes that second family and friendship. And then there's the social element as well. So in future, I envision two of my favorite brands in the market. One is Lego. So Lego is about being, from one brick, we can transform into multiple permutations and to create many, many new things. So like all the innovations out there, we will have many, many different innovations out there in the market. But I think it's also important that we also look at the Apple model. If you look at the Apple stores that are coming up, they all have this thing called the Genius Bar. And this bar is where the Apple staff can actually advise consumers how to use the products. So similarly, in the aged care industry, while we have all these technologies, we must also remember that human interface. How can we enable more older people to be familiar with technologies? How can cities become more age-friendly? Perhaps every city will have free Wi-Fi and free computing classes and regularly engage people in the city to use these technologies and to help older people to get adopted to these technologies. So I think that we need to look at different areas from multiple configurations to personalization of services, as well as looking at ways to empower our older adults to age well. Lastly, Ageing Asia produces a commemorative pin every year. This year, we look at aging with health, and I wish all of you good health. Thank you.
Okay, just to say thank you, Janice, again. And the video actually reminds me I should share with you my age. Okay, I'm only 30 years old. I mean, I hope I can be 30 years old. So our next speaker is Itoh. Itoh is a pioneer in developing assistant aids for people with disabilities and the founder of Abilities Care-net Japan. He will share with us his people-centered approach in designing innovative products, as well as the role of a civil society in advocating for policy changes so as to facilitate more innovation in place. So you can put on your earphones in case you need the simultaneous translation. Okay, pass the floor to you, Itoh-san.
Now, I'd like to speak my experience through my life. And I had a polio at my age of 1. Since that, I had many discrimination through my life. Something like in the time of elementary school, the schoolmaster said, you don't need to come to school because we have a law that government don't ask everybody to come to the school because you have trouble, don't worry. Schoolmaster said to my mother. But I could come, join to the school, and I'm very much happy because I was given education to the college. However, I had another trouble because I sent my application to many companies, and that was just the 4th year, school years, and I got reply from those companies, and without any interviews, they said, we don't have any idea to hire the people with disabilities. And I received such a reaction that was so sad for me. Then, when I graduated, just after, I started my company with other 5 people with disabilities, so totally 6 people. And I started printing business. I didn't have any experience to learn about printing technologies, but we tried, and we hired these 5 people who they learned about printing business at a special training center for the people with disabilities. But their level of printing business is very much low, and we had the trouble. And we didn't have any better customers, but we tried to extend our business. And fortunately, our company was growing little by little. And now it's 5 years later after establishment of the company. And we had, I think, 15 or 20 employees. And the business was going well in that time. And I could have opportunity to meet Minister of Labor, and just 5 years later of my establishment. I brought my idea, and the Prime Minister, no, it's a Labor Minister, he allowed me to have a meeting, very short meeting, but he extend to almost 2 hours. and I could explain how we improve the employment for the people with disabilities, because I explained my situation, why I had such a trouble. When we go to the stores, they sell everything to sell. But when I issued my application to the companies, they refused. That is not fair. And I created my ideas how to improve the society. Even the people with disabilities, we have a right to be able to work because our law principle says everybody should work. That is the duty of the people. And I prepared some ideas. Each company has to hire at least 1%, 2% of people with disabilities to be able to work at commercial-based companies. And though the schedule of minister gave me only 20 minutes, but he extended the meeting with me. And he invited many second level of people, of labor ministries, and he decided, he issued, okay, we should make new law to make a new law for the people with disabilities to be able to work in the society. And the government spent almost 4 years. But in 1950, the National Parliament has decided to create such a law. Now in Japan, all of the companies has to hire 2% of people with disabilities. Okay. Yeah. Yes, and I'm sorry. This is okay. I'd like to introduce some of pictures. That is the first step, and when we created our companies, we decided that's our policy. That's policy. So it's too long, but I say so make a short. I seek opportunity, not security. No need to get donations. And that's our policy. Since we started this movement until today, 51 years, we keep this same slogan and to inform what we like to do. And we started, so this is second year's our office. In the beginning and in the first years, we should move to fourth time for our facilities, because neighbors said to our factory owners, and neighbors asked to us to move others, because it's so handicapped people working here. We are afraid to happen something like fire troubles like that. And in the first years, we had to move 4 places. But this is the second years. I could meet Catholic priest. He provided that small house, which was working for a dormitory of teachers of kindergarten. But we got only ground level and half of house, only one. And so this is behind. Now this is a printing business. And so besides our business, we keep to make this kind of something like a conference to give hope to the people with disabilities. And also sometimes it's a brother of emperor. He joins to our conference. And okay, I passed. And this is the situation. I met labor ministers. It's right person was labor ministers. And I brought my ideas, and so that's his first steps. Okay, and I could see our government will make a new law to improve employment of the people with disabilities. And I started to create the business of wheelchair and the workers and many things. Now you can see the many equipment here, but in the time in Japan, we didn't have any products to assist the people with disabilities. And I visited to many advanced companies, which is like United Kingdom and America and other countries, and I negotiated to make a joint business for Japanese market. This is one of the situation what we do. This is the plate for the disabilities, because when the people with disabilities comes to the office or factories, they need to have a breakfast. And eating is very, very basic equipment to help the people with disabilities. This is our first equipment, like this. Still, we are selling this one. And this is a cooking plate for the hemiplegia. It's because the major part of patients of disabilities, they are stroke. And even though they have stroke troubles, they have to work. It's a housewife has to work as a housewife to cooking. And we keep to making these equipment like chopsticks and nail cutters. So depending on the situation of the physical conditions, they need a different one. And almost 2 years later, we showed these many equipment to the society. If we have this kind of equipment, even the people with disabilities, they can work, they can keep their living in the home, in the society. And our national government, they funded our show, first show. And government asked me to create this show open to the society to improve the elderly care and also people with disabilities. And this is the first show in 1974. It's 44 years ago. Now it's expanding. This year is the 44th time. Last year, we had 700 exhibitors and 2,000 booths and 110,000 visitors. Now, many people from other countries to visit to the show. I aimed to invite big companies join to these industries. Of course, in that time, only our company did it. it's very, very small industries. We need to get more major companies to join to improve the societies. Now it's coming, and many companies are joining. So, and something like a Toyota, Nissan, and so today here is a Panasonic company. It's very good. Now in Hong Kong, I think new society will be coming in these industries. I think this is our booth. As this year, 44th time, we have 60 booths because we have many collaborations with almost 50 companies of 15 countries. Now we have 500 people working for this business in Japan, and also another 500 people to manage the facilities for elderly care and people with disabilities, expanded through these 44 years. Yeah, and this is 2 years ago, and the former Prime Minister, Mr. Hatoyama, joins to see like this. And now we have many different equipment. The first equipment was just a simple plate, but many kinds. This is international joining, okay? And this is a seating equipment, many things. So we show these equipment at the booth. And also these kind of stair climbing equipment at the stations, and also high-speed trains we put. And also home care market is expanding. Many kind of equipment we do. This equipment is very important to keep a safe living condition for elderly people. If they have a trouble, so with chairs, they are coming back to the bed. It makes a bedridden people. That is very important. Not only the equipment to support. Yeah. Okay, and we also have some business. Still, we are hiring many employees with disabilities, physical handicap, mental and psychiatric people. They are working together as a normal employees. This is bookstores. I started this one is 1983 with the biggest shopping mall company, which is Jasco, Eon companies. And this is a joint venture. And so 10 people who they are severely disabilities, they are normal employees, and the back of the people with disabilities, they are part-time worker, so most of them are housewives. They are joining together. This is the second store. Now we have these big bookstores in the northern part of Japan. It's a totally 6 stores we manage. Yeah. Now we have these facility for the elderly people. All of our facilities, we install advanced equipment to help, to support for the elderly people to be able to live so as much as possible by themselves. And all of equipment which are developed by us. Yeah, this bus bathing and the exercise unit. And also we have these restaurants. This is open for community. And many singers, musicians, they join to this stage. This is a part of our nursing home. And this is very important, even though the elderly people, they like to live in the community. This is important, key. Normally in Japan too, most of nursing homes is out of the society. It's no good. Yeah, we have many restaurants, and we are working also kid cares. Yeah. Okay, now I don't have enough time to speak everything, and I like to say, in Tokyo, I'm living in Tokyo. I'm now 75 years old, and I have to use canes, sometimes wheelchairs. But I have trouble because it's a pedestrian, street from this side and the other side. It's not easy for me to take over there with green signs. That makes a trouble. But everything, not only streets, but also everywhere, stations, trains, this arrangement was done for the people, but without any trouble. This is very important keys. Now, all over the world, we have many population of elderly people. Now we have to change the society to fit to everybody, not only healthy people, but also elderly people, also severely disability people. So society was keeping to think to the normal societies. They didn't have any idea to improve the society to fit elderly populations, but now changes. This is new situation. I think this show, this exposition, will make a new society in Hong Kong and also mainland China and also other Asian countries. We like to work together, this Hong Kong show and Tokyo show, to improve the society. Everybody can be living happy. Thank you very much.
Okay, many thanks again, Itoh, for sharing your lifelong inspiring and encouraging stories, okay? And then our last speaker, Professor Xu, he is an expert in geotechnology and is a mechanical engineer by profession. And his key research interest is on innovative product design to suit the use of the elderly. And he will share with us the Taiwan and global trend in adopting technology and innovation for improving the quality of living of elderly. Please.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Again, my name is Yeh-liang. I'm a professor in Mechanical Engineering Department. I'm also the director of Gerontechnology Research Center of Yuan University in Taiwan. And I also have, I'm also the editor-in-chief of Gerontechnology Journal, which is the official journal of International Society for Gerontechnology. And today I want to share with you this topic, G-Tech Villa. G-Tech means Gerontechnology, and facilitating that caring embracement between generations. In this talk, I want to discuss with you what is Gerontechnology and our design philosophy for Gerontechnology development, and how we went from university to industry, how we develop our own products. And first of all, the Sinophone world, or the Chinese-speaking world, is aging fast. As you know, mainland China has the world's largest aging population, but you probably do not know. You probably do not know this. Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, and Singapore are hit simultaneously by rapid population aging and extremely low birth rate. And these are the numbers from 2015, the fertility rate. And out of the 224 countries and regions, Singapore has the lowest fertility rate, and Macau is 223rd, Taiwan 222nd, and Hong Kong 221. So it simply says that this is serious and we do not have enough caregivers, we do not have enough manpower. So people have been looking into Gerontechnology as a positive solution in maximizing the efficiency and effectiveness of manpower and resource put in elderly care. And I often tell people that there are 3 Gs that are so important in this aging society. The 3 Gs are gerontology, geriatrics, and gerontechnology. And the small numbers down there are if you Google these terms. If you Google these terms, how many hits you are going to get. For gerontology, you're going to get more than 7 million hits, geriatrics, more than 9 million hits. But gerontechnology, you get just 74,000 hits. So this is a very new term, and this is a very new research field. And actually, Gerontechnology started in 1991 when the first International Congress of Gerontechnology was held in the Netherlands. And the International Society for Gerontechnology, or ISG, was established in year 1997. I love this definition of gerontechnology by the ISG very much. And it says, what is gerontechnology? It is about designing technology and environment for independent living and social participation of older adults. And the scope of gerontechnology is a very broad one. It includes health, housing, mobility, communication, leisure, and work. So I'm sure all of you can find something you can work with in the field of gerontechnology. The Gerontechnology Research Center in Yuan University, Taiwan was established in year 2003. So we have been doing this for more than 14 years now. And we are one of the pioneer research centers in the field of gerontechnology in Taiwan. Actually, when we talk about gerontechnology, we have to talk about culture. And one very important traditional value, which was also brought up by Janice in her talk, is filial piety, 孝顺. Filial piety, 孝顺, is still an essential element of Chinese culture shared across the Sinophone world or Chinese-speaking world, where children growing up are constantly and empathetically taught to be filial to their parents and to be respectful to their elders. And that is the character. That is the Asian Chinese character for filial piety. And you can see that there are 2 parts in this character. The upper part is an older adult. The lower part is a young kid. So again, if you Google this word, and there are several interpretations of filial piety, or 孝顺. It says the young kid carries the older person on the back, or the young kid lends an arm to support the older person. However, I love this other interpretation a lot better than the other 2 interpretations. Filial piety, 孝, is the caring embracement between the older person and that young kid. If you see this picture, you see the young kid and the older person really opened up their arms, really try to embrace each other. So we use that as the design philosophy for gerontechnology product. And well, it doesn't stop there. 2,500 years ago, there was this very famous Chinese scholar, Zhenzi. Zhenzi was a student of Confucius 2,500 years ago. He said, 孝子之养老也. To take care of the older parents, what are the care needs of the older adults. 乐其心, make them happy, which is the most important thing of all. 不为其志, you should let them do what they will. You should help them do whatever they want to do. 乐其耳目, to help them see well, hear well, and 安其情处, to provide them with a safe and comfortable living environment. I think 2,500 years ago, Zhenzi already defined the purposes of Gerontechnology. And Zhenzi has a wonderful story. Let's show the story. Oh, okay. Zhenzi also has a wonderful story called Finger Biting Causing Heartache. When Zhenzi was a teenager, he lived with his parents at home. And, well, it doesn't work that well. Okay. One day when Zhen was out cutting wood among the mountains, there came a visitor to his house. After awaiting her son's return in vain, her mother used the state-of-the-art technology by biting her finger. And this state-of-the-art wave was transmitted, was sent through the mountains to Zhenzi. And Zhenzi felt heartache all of a sudden and knew there was some emergency with her mother, so he rushed back home with a burden of wood, and on arrival, knelt down to ask his mother, what happened? His mother replied, oh, nothing. There is a visitor who needs you urgently, so I don't know what to do. So I bit my finger to awake you and call you back. That was the state-of-the-art technology, right? And I believe that was the beginning of telehealth. And so if we think about applying ICT for healthcare, the very first application that would come, come in mind will be home telehealth. Home telehealth. These are the photos of my friend, Professor Branko Seller of Australia, and he is a pioneer in the field of home telehealth. I have a lot of respect to him. And this is a typical model of home telehealth. Older adults at home measures all kinds of vital signs, EKG, blood pressure, body weight, blood temperature, oxygen, glucose, and so on, and sent from some sort of gateway at home to a server in the cloud, so that the medical doctors, caregivers will read those data and take necessary actions. However, well, it was 10 years ago. There was a major project in Taiwan, which was called Ubiquitous Care. It was about home telehealth. And 10 years after this major project, Ubiquitous Care, it is proved to be a failure in Taiwan. Right now, after the project ends, there are very few institutions which are still doing home telehealth. And in my understanding, this home telehealth is not working well in other parts of the world too. Why? What is the problem? So if I ask you this question, who are missing in the pictures? Who are missing in these pictures? My answer to that would be children, family members. When Zhenzi's mother had some trouble, she wanted her son to know, not some medical doctor to know, right? So, well, this is our model of home telehealth. We ask ourselves if the vital signs vital sign measurements are sent to the children, family members, what is going to happen rather than sending to the medical doctors. So this is actually what is happening with my mother. And well, this lady is my mother. This is the latest journal, latest Gerontechnology journal. I have to put my mother on the cover because she is so important to our Gerontechnology development. That's my mother. My mother is 80 years old, and she has diabetes. She is my personal case study. So we put everything in her house for more than 1 year now. and she measured her blood pressure and blood glucose every day. So we put this IoT processor in there, so after she has done her measurement, she doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to open up an app or anything. So that processor will scan the data and send the data through this IoT protocol to my mobile phone. I actually did some update this morning, but they are displaying at the previous version of my PowerPoint slide. This morning, my mother's blood sugar is 142, a bit high, right? So when she has some not so good measurement, I would call her. I would call her saying, hey, mother, what did you eat last night? Did you eat something sweet, or why your blood sugar is high? My mother would be very happy. She would say, oh, I know you're going to call me because my blood pressure is high, or blood glucose is high. Well, I have a feeling that when she does that measurement, she will say, hey, well, let's have a high blood pressure. If my blood pressure is normal, my son will not call me. And yeah, but then what I do is I post the measurements onto the Facebook, so that my brother in Singapore, my younger sister in the United States, they would all see. And my younger sister told me once, or she would like wait in front of Facebook and to see that measurement and click OK, or put up something, say, hey, Mom, you're good, you're doing good. And my younger sister felt good because she felt she did something, filial piety, 孝顺, she did something. So with this model, and home telehealth becomes care, interaction, connection, in addition to just health monitoring. The second type of technology people have been talking about is wearable devices. There are all types of wearable devices. There are all types of wearable devices. Okay, Apple Watch. Even your dog can have a wearable device. And Mi Band. Mi Band is good because this Mi Band is so, the price of Mi Band is so low, it's so easy to get Mi Band. And actually, I also like this wearable device. When you get a phone call, you don't really have to take out your mobile phone. What you do is you do this. Hello, this is Professor Xu, who is talking, something like that. And in a discussion in class about this wearable device, our students were so interested in this. They were talking about, can I use middle finger rather than index finger? Can I do this? Hello, who is this? Oh, Professor Xu, this is your phone. But anyway, well, we have around 200 people here. Raise your hand if you are wearing one of those wearable devices. It's less than 10. So what I'm trying to tell you is wearable devices are not happening. Wearable devices are not happening. And the next thing would be smart home. And this 中华电信智慧家庭, CHD Smart Home. CHD Smart Home, 中华电信 is the largest telecom company in Taiwan. So let's see what they sell in their smart home. Service controller, wireless gas detector, wireless motion detector, wireless smart plug, wireless temperature humidity sensor, wireless smoke detector, wireless read switch, wireless IP camera, wireless remote controller. Are they really selling home? Are they really selling living? They are selling some sort of wireless sensors. And also this other company, or their smart home is about camera, putting a lot of cameras in your home. So my question to this is, are they really selling living? Are they really selling homes? Finally, robot. People have been have very good expectation about robot. I love this movie very much by Will Smith, I, Robot. This movie came out in year 2004. It pictures 2023 in Chicago, where every household will have one of those robots. This robot can take care of your children, deliver your mail, throw out your garbage, walk your dog, and have superpower. year 2035 is 18 years away. Let me tell you, you're not going to have this robot in your home 18 years later. Well, there are many wonderful robots in the world. I think the best robots are in Japan, such as Curio and Osmo. But if I ask you, do you have a robot at home? Some of you may raise your hand. Hey, I have a robot at home. I have this robotic vacuum machine at home. But by the way, this is also called iRobot. But let me ask you, if you buy this iRobot home, and how do you tell your wife and kid? Do you tell your wife and kids, say, hey, I got a robot at home, or I got a vacuum machine at home? Most of you will say, I got a vacuum machine at home. And people would tell me again, Paro, right? Paro is the most therapeutic robot certified by Guinness World Records and everything. It's very good, very cute. We have one in our research center. If you haven't seen one, there are many out there. It's so cute, so good. It's an autonomous robot and everything, and it's also expensive, $6,000 US. So if you want to spend $6,000 US, but money may not be a problem here. Money may not be a problem. Okay. So, yeah, I should stand here. Okay. It's here. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I'm sorry. I thought it's there. Okay. So I collected all those photos from the internet. All those older adults are they love their Paro so much. But let me ask you, what do you see in those photos? What do you see in those photos? People would tell me they see loneliness. They see loneliness. Where are your children? Where are your wife or husband? How come you play with this robotic thing? So again, Gerontechnology is not about technology. It is about design. So when we talk about design, we say, hey, we want to find the needs of our users. And then people would say, oh, okay, the older adults, they must be frail, they must be ill, disabled, and poor. And we look at this grandma saying, hey, you need a walker so that you will not fall. Of course, this grandma may have a walker, may need a walker, but this grandma will not have the motivation to use that walker. So the needs is not equal to motivation. So how do we turn the need into motivation? How do we find the motivation? Enjoyment, fun. Enjoyment, fun, 乐其心. That's the motivation. So again, we want to facilitate caring embracement between generation. Filial piety is our motivation. And last year we started a company because Gerontechnology is only valuable if the designs can be turned into product. Then we started the company, and what we did for the whole year is we tried to go from creativity to prototype to products, and finally we should sell them so that the older adults can use them. And our company, the core of our company is smart living, IoT, Gerontechnology. So what we do is we put smart into living. This is our IT structure. We use a rather standard IoT IT structure. So the only assumption for the home is you have a Wi-Fi AP, and that's it. And you can use those products. And our products are the artifacts that you see in your everyday life in the home environment, such as bed, carpet, chair, toys, lights, and so on. So you really do not have to learn how to use a product. You just live in your environment and do whatever you do, and that's it. So I don't have much time left, so I'll quickly go through our product. We started from the bed. And this bed is use a very special material, and so the pressure is evenly distributed, so we can reduce the risk of bed ulcer. And we also this bed can also do motion sensing, so we design a 3-stage leaf bed alarm. So you can see that when this person is sits up in the bed, sit at the edge of the bed, or leave the bed, the caregiver will be receiving a message. And we also do. We can also do in-bed activities, sleep quality monitoring, and everything. And the other product we're showing here is our carpet. I often tell people that localization is a fundamental technology for smart living, and we can do image processing, wearable devices, floor sensors, and everything. However, this product here is a carpet. We can assemble those carpet according to the size, shape, area of your room, and then after this auto mapping, we will have real-time localization from the mobile devices. And we can do localization, mobility monitoring, fault detection, fault protection, and so on. We even develop some sort of toys from here. I'll go very quickly, but this picture is so important. Okay, thank you. I'll go very quickly, but this is rather important because, well, this was our very first case when we put those carpet. We put them in Julian apartment for older adults, and you can see that the grandma. We chose this grandma because she fell several times. And so one afternoon, we asked the caregiver to take her away for a couple of hours. And then we went in there to assemble those things. And in a few hours, her room turned into this. And when she came back, she was so happy, not because of the technology function. It's because, she said, this is so pretty and this is so soft. If I fall again, I can lie on the floor for a few minutes, no problem. But well, she has been monitored using those carpet, and I'll quickly go through those, and those are our core bottom, but we make them into an IoT lamp, and we also have this localization devices using Mi Band as a tag, and we can do localization and other application. And we put together everything into this IoT dementia bedroom. This is already there in Banqiao Dementia Nursing Home. And also, these are the toys for dementia patients. We designed those toys to include physical exercise, cognitive training, and multisensory stimulation. And yesterday, I was so excited. The grandma and granddad in Hong Kong were they were standing in a long line and waiting to play our toys. I didn't know our toy is so interesting, but they waited in a long line trying to play our toys. And again, these are already there in the Banqiao Nursing Home. And this is the last slide. We even built a train station and a train itself in Banqiao Nursing Home. And we brought everything here. We brought the G-Tech Villa here. It's in booth G3. And it's there, including silver bedroom, memory corridor, and intergeneration fund. So if you are interested, you can go there and give us suggestions. This one last slide, there's important information, our Facebook. I saw people are taking pictures. I have already put the PowerPoint slides on our Facebook. So go to the Facebook and search for Gerontechnology RC. RC means Research Center. Then you will get this the PDF of this PowerPoint slide. I'm sorry that it takes a little longer than I should. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoy this talk.
So I don't know how you feel, but it's really encouraging and great learning opportunity. Maybe I want to ask a question about learning to Dr. Chow. Is that there's a general perception that technology will move very fast, whereas the elderly, the learning may not be that fast. Will there be a gap there? I mean, for the learning process and the fast-changing technology. What do you feel about that? Can you advise us?
This is such a great question, and also reminds me of a quote by Professor Laura Carstensen. She is the founding director of Stanford's Longevity Center. She essentially said, the challenge is to convert the world that is built by and for the young people into one that's going to support and also engage population who live 100 years and beyond. So what does that mean? Because in today, the technology itself, I would say there's no bias, young or old. I mean, thinking about blockchain, quantum computing, and cognitive technology. So what happens, I mean, these technologies have no bias in age. What happens is when people turn those technology into products, the gap happened, right? People who market, who design and develop products are not taking into considerations of the older people or people with special needs. They only focus on young people. So let's face the reality. When people turn 60 or older, 40% of them develop at least one disability, if not more. How can you expect these people to adapt technology, or products, I should say, that designed for the teenagers or 20-year-old, right? So it's going to be a mind shift, focus on design. And I think, Professor Xu and also Itoh-san both talked about very good examples of design the right product for the right people. So I would say I would not really put the burden on the elderly, say, hey, how come you don't adapt the technology? It's not their fault. It is really the people who design, who market, who develop a product. Those are the people who need to change their mind. I would also like to add, the two factors going to drive the change. One is awareness, because these people, a lot of people don't realize the special needs. That's one. So I think that the awareness is going to improve. Number two is there's also economic reasons. Right before the spending is by young people. However, things are changing. If you look at the U.S. today, already 51% of consumer spending are by the people who are 50 years or older. That's one statistics. And 70% of the country's wealth, 70%, is controlled by the people who are 50 years or older. That'll drive a lot of incentives for the private sector to shift their design and focus to the older population. So I hope that it helps. And any other comments for the people here?
Yes, that's very interesting. Yes, and the question is that I know you are working in private companies, okay? In the American context, is the government doing anything? Will there be a role for the government to promote the use of technology so as to enable the elderly to live happily and comfortably as they age? Will the government have any role or any collaboration between the government and the private companies or even the other NGOs, whatever?
That's another very good question. I would say definitely yes, because governments play such an important role. In the U.S., when it comes to aging, there is a very comprehensive report by the PCAST, is the President's Council of Advisors for Science and Technology. They conducted two parts of the study, one in 2015, specifically focused on the hearing impairment. And so the second one just came out last March of 2016, essentially talked about independence and also engagement of seniors and how seniors can adapt the technology and also make their lives better. There are 8 recommendations and talked about how government agencies should work together, how government agency and private sectors can work together in ICT space, and also how universities and private sector and government can all work together to make things better. From the policies to standards to technology investment, it's a very comprehensive report. So I would suggest if you have not seen it, if you can search a PCAST for aging, you'll be able to find that report.
Thank you. Very good. Yeah. My next question is to Janice. Yes, you have a venture, completely new enterprise with your own initiatives. So in your view, what is the ideal collaboration model among different stakeholders? I mean, from government, private companies, NGOs, so as to promote the use of technology to enable the elderly to age in place. What's your view? Ideal.
I think that's a very, very big question. But maybe if we can bring it back to how can we encourage more older people to use technologies and also to make their lives better. I think what governments can start to influence is how can we perhaps engage youths to be able to be buddies to the elders. Is there a way that students who are seeking part-time employment can be hired as elder buddies? You know, growing up, I was very fortunate that I had my grandmother with me. But as the population ages and family structures get smaller, I realized a lot of younger people don't live with their grandparents. Neither do they interact with a lot of older people. And sometimes the schools might say, okay, as part of your curriculum, you have to go to a nursing home and you have to visit the elders. But this is a compulsory activity. But if we can turn it the other way around and encourage perhaps employment of elder buddies, and not just for students to be elder buddies, older people can be elder buddies. Anyone of any age can be a buddy to a grandma and grandpa. So if you imagine in the expo outside, if every grandparent that walked into the halls today is being partnered with an elder buddy, perhaps you bring income and you also bring purpose and you bring happiness to the older people. And I think somewhere along that, the technology players can come in to match them according to their interests. And I think that's where the technology sector would come in. And NGOs will be able to tell them which are the elders that need elder buddies. So, thank you.
I think both of the people speaks about very important things. And so as I told you before, and that today, so all of the circumstances for the people, which is available for young people and healthy people. But the people with disabilities and elder people, it's not easy to have an enjoyable life today. And one of our equipment, we have something like a high-low wash basin unit. And adult people is easy to use. It's a fixed height wash basins, but children cannot use. And they need some help by mother or fathers. And also, elderly people, some of elderly people cannot use. Then help us wash the face of elderly people kindly, and elder people says, thank you very much, but it's not good. It's so situation and standard is not correct. We need to prepare for many different kind of people. It's a generation, different height, and also different age. If we could make so adequate arrangement for each level of the people, it makes a better living situations. And we should change our basic ideas. So one standard is not available for the people. It's very important if they can do by themselves, wash hand, wash face, they keep dignity. They can keep dignity. But if they need help to wash hand, wash face, wash bodies, the people lose dignity. This is very important, not only technologies, but also what is a kind, what is better. This is my ideas.
Following that, Itoh-san, I have a question. Is that you have been a very good wealth of experience in making changes to convince government to make changes to the government policy so as to cope with for the benefit of the people, for disabled. So if you are going to promote or convince government to make policy changes in the technology for the elderly, do you foresee any difficulties or barriers that you have to go through? What approach will convince them? Top down, bottom up, or whatever? What do you think?
I have experience. I started a National Association of Anti-Discrimination Law in 2001. And because government and society, they are thinking about people with disabilities. They are so sad. They need money. They need sympathy. And society and the government prepared many arrangements but it's not good. Okay, we like to keep our dignities. And and we created a new law in 2013, spending almost 13 years. And but I never fight to the government. I always created something like lectures inside of national parliament. We invite a member of parliament to learn about the futures. Even the people with disabilities, they like to live in the society as a normal citizens. And gradually they understand. And used to be, they are thinking about people with disabilities. They wanted to have some donations, but I say, we don't like to have donations. We like to live in the society as a normal citizens. So used to be, I think most of the countries, the government is thinking about the people with disabilities. They need money. They need something like help. But we need to change, improve this kind of ideas. That's my experience. Thank you.
I have a question for Professor. I saw your own design, your approaches from the design as a starting point. So in that context, to what extent this design of new product is useful or effective in helping the elderly to age in place without premature institutionalization? To what extent do you think is effective for this design product?
We are actually before we make this product, we have been doing a lot of field trials and actually have our target users to use them and so on before we can actually make them a product. And I really want to tell people that we are doing Gerontechnology, but Gerontechnology is not about technology. Technology is never the major issue in here. It's about design. So when we talk about design, there are three things you have to think simultaneously. The first one will be human desirable. The others have to be desired by human. Number two is, of course, technology feasible. Number three, business viable. So if this wonderful product is very expensive, nobody can buy it, and all that, it's not going to be a useful product. So we keep, and these three requirements are, there's not a sequence. So it's not like, oh, we have to explore the human desirable, then technology feasible, then business viable. We have to think these three aspects at the same time. So, back to that question, if we can do that, we can keep iterating human desirable, technology feasible, and business viable. And that product should be a good, useful product. Again, this is a design approach. It's not really about technology.
You have mentioned that one of the key factors to motivate elderly people is to have fun and enjoyment. I mean, considering the fact that the elderly, they are quite vary substantially. I mean, from young old, age 60, mid old, up to old, 90 years and above. I mean, their needs, their physical strength, and also cognitive ability may vary substantially among this wide age spectrum. What is your approach? I mean, how to deal with these age differences with your concept behind?
Yeah, there may be age differences. There may be difference in functional abilities and all that. But one thing that was also the thing was also mentioned by the other speakers is loneliness. We have to. The older adults want to have interaction, communication with the younger generation and with the people around them and so on. And actually, I think that there's no difference in that aspect. For example, my mother, 80 years old, the thing she likes most is to talk to her son. And what I like most is to talk to my daughter. My daughter doesn't want to talk to me, but I like to talk with my daughter, to spend time with our family. I think that is true for for everybody, regardless of their ages and so on. So that is the reason why I try to tell people that we use that, facilitating that caring embracement between generations. We actually do not do assistive technology. We don't do wheelchairs, walkers, and all that. So what the products we are developing is we try to use the product to facilitate that communication, interaction between generations. So I think that has nothing to do with
apparently
age.
it seems that loneliness is a common factor. I mean, all the speakers. Can you share with us what do you think about loneliness, how to address that?
Yeah, because I mean, this one, as I mentioned, we conducted a study on loneliness. And I think to address that, we need to take a look at the root causes of loneliness, right? And so the biggest thing is the loss in life that causes loneliness. For example, the loss of mobility. You can no longer go out anymore. So obviously, it's going to shrink your social circle, right? And also, some people lose their hearing. And then if you cannot hear well, the conversation becomes much more difficult. And some elderly don't want to be embarrassed themselves and having a conversation, and so they withdraw essentially, right? And also there are other things as well, and friends around them. I mean, they die over time, and so there are multiple factors, but the biggest effect in loneliness is caused by the loss. Yeah.
3 years ago, I started a club called Aspire 55, which looked at older people. So we looked at how can we enable future generations to age in better health and to have more friends who are like-minded. But when we went out there to the market, we found that older people didn't want to admit that they were lonely. My friends, when I asked them to bring their parents to come to the club, their parents were very reluctant. And and I think one of the biggest challenges is that as society gets more and more affluent, the next generation, it's not like my grandparents' generation where the doors were always open to their neighbors. Everybody had each other's key. They can access and they know everyone in the neighborhood. When my parents were working, they were busy working, they didn't know many of the neighbors like grandma. So grandma knew all the neighbors. My parents knew probably one or two. And I probably wouldn't know any of them. Because we now live in an age where all of us are holding our phones all the time. And I think human interaction is going to just get lesser and lesser with more technologies. So I think every time we think of technology, I always think, who's going to operate it? Who's going to communicate? Who's going to finally use that very cool product? So there's no point in technologies if we cannot get people to embrace it and use it and influence it. Yeah.
Itoh, has you any views on the loneliness issue? I mean, common issue across different parts of the world. I mean.
Okay, and loneliness is very big troubles. Now we are doing a project with the government, and we have many big apartments by the government. And young people, families, they are gone, and only elderly fathers, mothers living there. And sometimes, so the elderly people died without any communicate with others. Then our government approached us to work together to create new service programs. And we started that one in Yokohama 4 years ago. Since then, we never have such a troubles. It's observation programs. But even observation services is done by the equipment, but it's not enough. And we create daycare centers inside of apartments, and also we provide a meal service. So basically, we like them come to join to our day service center to have a meal service. If we provide meal service to the home, each unit, their loneliness couldn't improve, okay? And the reason why we are making restaurants, small restaurants, besides of nursing homes, and it's very, very important to speak each other with the community people and also same people who they are living in the nursing homes. This is very important. I think loneliness makes a big troubles. And so life is coming very short. And of course, food is very important, but only food is not enough. It's shared share some conversation, share the ideas, and it's very important. And loneliness is one of the enemy to cut the life. That's my ideas.
Okay, thank you. Professor, you have any further point to add? Or use of technology, high-tech, geotechnology to overcome the point, overcome the loneliness issue?
Yeah, one thing we do is actually the older generation and the younger generation are living in different world. The older generation, or even like me, we live in a physical world. Everything for us is physical. We like to play physical. When we play games, we like to play physical games and all that. But the younger generation live in a digital world. They play digital game and all that. So actually, by digital world, I mean this very small world right in here. So when you get on the subway, so everybody was doing this, right? So one thing we are doing is how are we going to connect the physical world and the digital world, so that so people can still live the way they want to live, but there's connection, communication in there. How are we going to send the message from the physical world to the digital world and for the younger generation, and so that the younger generation would not feel, you keep bothering me, but well, when they scroll their mobile phone, they naturally see what's happening with their parents and all that. So that is also one thing we try to do to solve that loneliness problem, to connect the different worlds.
Yes, so loneliness is an issue, but there's a solution through high-tech and technology input and IT solutions. Okay, I think I will stop here to see whether we have any questions from the floors to our speakers. So if you have, please don't mind to raise your hand and raise a question. Okay, I pass it to the floor. Anyone want to have more knowledge or raise any questions to our speakers? Just raise your hand. Hanson has a question. Yeah, sure.
After your sharings, maybe I have a conclusion is we go back to the people. We're talking about the people. So I think the future technology of the Gerontech must focus on the people, is it? This is my question.
Okay. Can you hear that? I mean, speakers. I mean, the question is, future. I mean, should we focus on people, even though we start with the geotechnology, whatever improvement or IT applications, whatever?
Yes, the whole idea, I would say, that I like to start with the role technology plays. Technology is not the center of the world. Technology is enablement. And so in this agent, in the agent, and from agent aspect, I would say it's an ecosystem. In the middle of the ecosystem is the elderly, is the people, right? Essentially are the people. And then also requires not just technology, but more importantly, the ecosystem, including, not only the seniors, the loved ones, the government, private sector, and technology, of course, it can enable all of that. It can, make the elder life become better and make government more efficient, make caregivers, smarter and more capable. So it's an ecosystem with the seniors in the middle. So always focus on people.
Yeah. I think that many governments will promote aging in place, but then there's the situation that people are lonely and then they're dying in place. So I think that's a challenge. But technology shouldn't be seen as a replacement to human touch, or interface. I think the world should change to suit older people, and I like what Professor mentioned about without having them to switch on the technologies or to charge the gadgets. We can give every older person here a Fitbit, but if they don't charge it after 7 days, it no longer works.
I have nothing to against. And technology is very important. And so he says, I agree to you completely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I have. I have this feeling about technology or Gerent technology. Gerent technology is about technology that is used at the home by the home users. I want to say something about robotics, which might offend some of you who are doing robotics. I do feel that robotics is there. Robotics is such a very mature technology, so all the manufacturing factories are using robotics. But I just cannot imagine a robot at home running around trying to take care of me. I just cannot imagine that. I think, for example, robot is not a technology that is used at home. So Gerent technology is about technology being used at home by the home users. It's not technology in general. So when we choose technology, I often think about that. Is this going to happen at home? The home users can use them? If so, then that's the technology we're going to use.
Good. So apparently, I mean, the technology is a means. Okay, means. Okay. We have another question. Yeah, sorry.
Scarlett Pong. Thank you for the wonderful presentation, and it's very impressive. I would like to know, for technologies, based on the World Health Organization 8 domains, how the technology can affect the different domains. Secondly, when Professor talking about, the connect, the physical world with the internet world, but how can we actually do it? Because it's not easy. Because, like, for example, if we have a group of elderly in Hong Kong, they might be going to the elderly center, but there are some educated one who retired, but they don't want to go to the education center, or they don't want to go to the elderly center. They have their own knowledge, they have the skill and all that. How can we actually make use of their asset and contribute to the world? And as you said, how we can let them feel that, they are very useful and they are not the one that, we need to help them. They can actually help the society from that particular aspect. Thank you so much.
Okay, anyone? And this big use of visual value, visual power of the elderly, and the 8 values of the World Health Organization on the
about
elderly.
that question, how to connect the physical world and the digital world. Well, let me use the. Well, I show on the PowerPoint slide. We have been designing toys for dementia older adults, and the older. Well, you cannot ask the dementia older adults to play the digital game. So what we do is we have physical games, but we call it one toy, many games. We connect the physical game with the app, so that if we change the app, we change the game. What is good about digital game is we can always have different difficulties. So after we finish this DE Guan, the first one, then we can go on to second one, and we can go on to the third one. But with physical game, it's difficult to do that. So what we do is we connect the physical toys with the digital toys, mostly the app. And we also use the app to generate the video, the sounds, music, and all that. When we play physical games, the cheering is mostly from the audience, but we can generate those cheering from the app and so on. And we can also, like a lot of other devices, after this older adults finish this game, we can also send the result of this game to some Facebook site, so that the children say, hey, my mother is improving in this game and all that. So this is what we're doing. We try to connect the physical toys with the digital toys through Bluetooth, through app. So this is probably one way to accomplish that.
So I'd like to comment on what you said in terms of the older people have a lot of knowledge, and how can we untap that knowledge to society. There are several aspects to it, and one is from the older people themselves, right? And so when they work, they have a large circle of their social circle is people at work, they connected with people, right? And also self-esteem. So when people transition from being a working person to retirement, quite often one is they lose their social circle. Number two is they feel like, oh, all of a sudden I become a burden to society instead of an active member of society. Their self-esteem also got hurt. So that's actually some of the contribution to the loneliness. So if we can say, there was a second aspect, right? From society perspective, you can see around the world, the working force is shrinking, right? And so there was a labor shortage. So from those two aspects, and we can take a look at how can we engage seniors working integrate them into the working environment in a part-time capacity or other ways of working. So make them, one, is still a valuable society member, and number two is we can untap the knowledge and for the younger generation. So this is my 2 cents in terms of how can we actively engaging the seniors after their retirement and also make a beneficial win-win for everybody.
I think what we can do is actually stop talking about the word retirement and not talk, because perhaps we would then have like a transition from full-time employment, and I agree with you, into part-time employment. But whenever people think of the word retirement, then they keep thinking, oh, this is the age that I'm going to stop work. Yeah, but essentially we don't ever want to stop work because that gives us purpose. But how many hours a day do we work and what kind of work do we do? I think that will take a different take.
Thank you. We're going to take one more question. Yeah, this lady has a question to raise. Can anyone help the lady to raise the question?
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentations. My name is Anchor. I'm from one of the NGO. My background is a social worker. I appreciate very much that you mentioned, all speakers mentioned about persons. We speak about product design to better the quality of life, or say the dignity of the people with disability and the elderly. What I really want to know, because for technology improvement and advancement, it takes time. For policy making, it takes time. There will be a lot of resources, planning, allocation of resources, etc. So what do you think, or say what will be your advice to our frontline, or say to our field in both health and social care field, or say the society? What can we start to make, or say some very trivial, or say effort or steps to contribute to this kind of Gerontech, or say in this movement to help our elderly for a healthy aging? So what will be the down-to-earth or small steps we can take right now? Thank you very much.
I think one very easy thing that all of us can do tomorrow is to encourage the elders around us to exercise. And if you want to encourage them to exercise, it's not about pointing them to the nearest gym or park. It's actually about exercising with them. So I think that's something that we should think about.
No? Okay, I think that's what, maybe I have a short question to all the speakers, very short. My question is that there's a saying that the technology for elderly in Hong Kong to enable them aging in place is a bit slow. If we want to move faster or in the right direction, what's your advice to us? Any advice?
I think I'm going to, comment about what Janice said. Engage not just the seniors, but also younger people and go together, work together.
I think it'll be affordability. So you must make sure that they can afford it. And then with a lot of technologies these days, it needs Wi-Fi access. So you have to make sure that the entire country has access to free Wi-Fi, for example.
Simple question, but it is very, very hard to make answers. Okay, the key, I think keyword is everybody can enjoy a life. Yes, so technology is very important to enjoy a life.
My answer would also be the answer to that lady. Let's just keep doing it. All the three speakers are from companies, industry. I'm from university, so I have the luxury I'll keep doing it and without worrying about whether I can make money or something. So just keep doing it, and it's going to happen.
Okay, that comes to conclusion. Thanks again for the speakers. Let's break friends to all speakers, okay?